Gotta stand. Stand on his word. We gotta stand. Sometimes we just gotta learn to stand. Because sometimes we'll be having problems, but we gotta stand. We just gotta hold on to our faith. Because without God, we can't do anything. Because sometimes we just gotta stand because we run into problems. We don't know which way to go. But we stand, he'll see us through. Sometimes that's what we need. We just need to hold on. Hold on to our faith. Because sometimes that faith is the only thing that's going to get you through. Because sometimes when you're doing something and you're going through something and you're going through all kind of pain and hurt, but as long as you stand and hold on, because sometimes you feel like you're just sinking. Like a ship, you feel like you're going down. And sometimes you feel like you might have a life jacket on and your head's just above water and you're just floating and you're going like this. I can't take no more. I feel like I'm sinking. And all of a sudden, God just picks you up and pulls you out and puts you back on dry land. But sometimes, when you read the word, and I started reading like Isaiah, and when he started talking about the Israelites, they represent the world before. And God judged them for their disobedience. A lot of times God judges us for our disobedience. Sometimes we feel that we're doing the right thing, but he's judging us because we're doing the wrong thing. Because we're looking at other gods and not looking at him. But sometimes we just don't want to admit what we're doing. We know what we're doing is not right, but we don't want to admit it. Because sometimes we just got to say, okay, Lord, I know I'm wrong. But a lot of times we don't want to do that. We just say, okay, I understand, God. I know I'm not 100% right, but, you forgive me, but your heart ain't right. And if your heart ain't right, how's he going to forgive you? So he's going to put you in turmoil. Just like he did with in Isaiah 41:10 says this. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with your righteous right hand. But sometimes, God's going to put you in a situation where you don't have to call on his name. And when you call on his name, he's going to put that right hand to pull you out. But see, you got to be ready for it. Sometimes we call on his name, but we're not ready for him to come. Because just like the Israelites, when they were doing all the things they wasn't supposed to do, they were worshiping other idols. They were doing everything they wasn't supposed to do. But they're still calling on him. Because once they start getting into trouble, first thing they always say, oh God, please help me. I know I made a mistake. But some of them don't want to admit that mistake. And that's what's wrong with the world today. The world today, people don't want to admit their mistakes. They want to follow everything but God. But they say they love God. They know who God is. But they don't put their trust and faith in God. What's wrong with that? If they're really a true believer, why aren't they putting their faith in God? Because the devil is so busy, and he's just going like this. He's just taking a fishing rod and toss you a little worm, and he just reels you in. And he's real slow with it, and all of a sudden you don't even know what happened. You got caught by the devil. And some of us, when we get caught, we don't know how to get away. We don't know how to call on God's name to get us out of it. And some of us do, but God said, okay, I'm going to let you suffer a little bit. Because while you're suffering, you're going to start working on calling my name and working with me instead of against me. All who rage against you will surely be ashamed and disgraced. Those who oppose you will be as nothing and perish. You know, the kingdoms and empires that not only refuse to recognize and bow before Israel or bow before God, God's saying, okay, I'm just going to turn them into dust like that. But see, a lot of people don't know if you don't believe and trust in him, he can do that. A twinkling of an eye, you're gone. So anytime he could turn around and say, okay, I know you say you're a believer, but I know you're not. And once you're not, I'm going to say, okay, you don't come against me. God saying, okay, you want to come against me? You're nothing. You're not even a grain of salt. You just get away. Because, just vanish like that. But he gives us the utmost chance to turn our life around. Because he's going to destroy your enemies. And all the ones that came against you, he's going to destroy. And I'd rather be the one that's going to be with him than being the one that's going to be destroyed. Because he's going to make sure he's going to destroy. And God is a loving God. And he gives you all the chances in the world. I mean, even he'll wait till the last minute and still give you a chance. Because most people ain't going to give you that chance. Most people say, hey, you messed up. Guess what? You're on your own. I walk away. I don't have to deal with you. I don't have to help you. But that's the way people think. But God will say, okay, I'll give you another chance. You're trying a little bit, I'll give you a little bit more chance. And then you mess up a little, I'll give you a little bit more chance. But that's what God does. He gives us a chance. But a lot of times we're afraid to step out on faith. All we got to do is say, okay, God, I see you. I know I'm wrong. I need to put my trust in you. But I need to reach up to you with my right hand so you can grab my right hand and pull me out of this mess. But a lot of us don't want to do that. We feel that we can look on the internet. We can look on everything and find an answer. Though they search for your enemies, they will not find them. Those who wage war against you will be as nothing at all. God letting you know what's going to happen. But see, a lot of people, when there's a problem, the first thing they want to do now is go to Google. Everybody knows how to go to Google. Google got the answer for everything. Wait a minute. If God knows all and sees all and can do all, why are you going to Google? I'd be going to the source. If the source is God, I'm going to go to God. I'm not going to go to Google. I may go to Google to find something of how to fix something, mechanically wise. But if I need to fix my heart, I ain't going to Google. I'm going to say, Lord, fix my heart. Because he's the only one that can fix it. And he sent his son to do it to help us. Google can't help you. Google ain't going to change you. Google can't do anything but teach you how to do the wrong things. So if God possesses all the knowledge, and he doesn't need to seek advice, why are you going to a counselor that doesn't have all the answers? Because Google doesn't have all the answers. They think they do. And I say they think they do. But they never tell you everything. Even when you're trying to fix something, they give you enough information to get you either you're going to figure it out or you got to find something else to get there. But God is going to help you figure it out. Because a lot of times when I run into trouble trying to do something, I say, God, I'm stuck. I need some wisdom here. I need to how to figure this out. because it's not making no sense. But God has a way of saying, okay, try this over here. And it works out. I say, it's amazing how God will work things out for you when you don't know. But most people don't call on God. They call on everything else. But 13 says, for I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear. I will help you. But how many people nowadays will call on God when they need help? And most of these young people, a lot of them don't even know who God is. They know Google, they know Instagram, they know Facebook, they know all the different social medias, but they don't know who God is. They say, okay, I understand there probably is something supreme being, but you know, it doesn't really make any sense to me. But a lot of them don't ask for God to come into their heart. Because once you see who God is, then you'll understand what he can do for you. But a lot of us don't have that faith and trust in God to understand. And most of the young folks will have no clue. Because if it ain't on Instagram, ain't in a text message, they lost. Most of them don't even know how to communicate. I mean, they'll be standing right next to one another going like this, texting. Wait a minute. Most people don't even know how to pick up a phone no more. They text. I go, I'll text for a minute, and I go like this. Heck with this. I'm picking them up and calling them. It's easier to call than it is to sit there and talk to somebody because most people don't want to talk anymore. It's no communication. Everybody wants to stay to themselves. And isolation is the devil's workshop. Because as long as he has you isolated, he can control you. And see, as long as he controls you, then you don't know. But if you start communicating with people and start associating with people, then you'll start growing with people. And then as you grow with people, then you can understand who God is. And when you understand who God is, then you'll go close to the glide and say, oh, I need to change. And the only way you're going to change is if you know him. So in Isaiah 40:27, God is the almighty power. But even so, he cares generously for everything and everyone. No person or thing can be compared to God. But a lot of people get to the point where they think they are God. Because the devil likes to always say that I'm God. But he done fell short. And if he fell that far, why are you trying to follow him? See, a lot of people would rather follow the devil and don't know they're following the devil because the devil goes like this. Come here. I'm okay. Just think. The Bible's a lie. The stories in the Bible are just stories. They're not for real. It's not a word. It's just some words. It's like a storybook. Don't worry. And that's what the devil does. He says, don't worry. You'll be okay. Follow me. And I'll teach you. Teach you how to fall. But see, that's what he does. He's real slick with it. You know, just like when somebody wants to do something with a kid, they give them candy. And they keep giving them candy and coaching them. And say, come follow me. That's what the devil does to us. He says, look, I'll give you this. Just follow me. I'll coach you. Just follow me. I'll teach you the words. You don't have to worry about what the word says. I will teach you. That's a lie from the pit of hell. But that's what he does. Anybody wants you to do something, the first thing they do is to con you. And that's what he's doing. He's conning you. But everybody don't see the con. A con artist is very slick. And that's what the devil is, real slick. He gonna con you in every way he can. And most people don't understand he's conning you. But when you start understanding who he is, then you know, get away from me. Hey, I don't need you. Step back. because I know who my God is. And that's what the Israelites had to do, find out who their God was. They fell. They went through the turmoil. They started worshiping other gods. But then they found out who the true God, living God was. Then they started following God. And then all of a sudden, they start getting proud again. And then they start falling again. And we keep going, and we do the same thing. We follow God, and then we fall. Then we scream, and we go through, and then when we go through, we want to go back to God again. And we do it over and over again. But sooner or later, you're going to realize God's in control. He's going to guide you where you need to go as long as you keep calling on his name and not calling anybody else's name. Because even though you might go to the internet, it will help you on some things, but it ain't going to help you on everything. It might tell you about the word, but it ain't going to tell you how to get closer to God. It's going to tell you everything but. So God is in control, but no one wants to admit to it. Because everybody wants to be proud. A lot of us say, okay, I can do this. I can do that. And that's what the devil does. He says, I can do this, and I'll show you how to do that. But when he's showing you, he ain't showing you all of it. Just like some people, they'll show you some things, but they won't show you everything. When you're on a job, the boss will show you some things, but he ain't going to show you the whole thing because he don't want you to get the big picture. Because if you get the big picture, he's afraid that you're going to take his job. But see, God don't care because God is the utmost God, and he's going to say, okay, I'm going to teach you this. But see, he's so wise, you can never catch him. So I'd rather stay with the wise instead of staying with the dumb. Because when you stay with the dumb, you don't become dumb. But if you stay with the wise, you're going to become wise. And if God is that wise, I want to be wise. So, 27 says, why do you complain, Jacob? Why do you say Israel is my way is hidden from the Lord? My cause is discarded by God. But when you're not doing the right thing and you're doing the wrong thing, it's going to catch up with you. And he might have been doing the right thing, but he couldn't understand. He fell with them, and he was with them, so he couldn't figure out what was going on because he had the issue. He didn't have the issue, others. But sometimes it's when you are around and associate with different people, they can bring you down when you need to be pulling yourself up and out. Because I think of a crab in a basket. If a whole bunch of crabs in the basket, and all of a sudden one crab's trying to get out, all the rest of them grabbing the legs and trying to pull him back in. And that's what we do. When we doing the wrong thing, we try to pull people with us instead of saying, okay, I know I'm wrong, but no, I'd rather pull them back because I want, misery likes company. And when they said that, I can understand why. Because if you know you ain't doing right, you want people to come with you, and then sometimes you'll blame them for the problem that you caused. Ooh, but God is good. God is for real. Do you not know, or have you not heard? The Lord is everlasting. Ooh, do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary. His understanding no one can fathom. When you're tired, and sometimes believers get tired because sometimes the devil is beating them up so much, sometimes you get tired. But when you get tired, you can trust in God. Because God's going to be there to hold you up. Because even Moses, his arms got tired from praising God. But all of a sudden, somebody stood back there and lifted his hands back up. And that's what God does. When we're tired, he's going to lift us up. When we think we don't have no place to go, when we're at root's end, and we're saying, I'm ready to give up, God says, not yet. It's not time yet. Come on now. You gotta lift them up. And sometimes God might not do it himself, but he has somebody to help you to get there. That's why if we trust one another in love, he's going to send the right person at the right time to lift you up when you need to be picked up. Because sometimes you might think you're falling down and you don't have nowhere to go. But all of a sudden, here is somebody that God told to help you to get to where you need to be. But a lot of us will say we hear, but we don't want to communicate and say, I'll accept it. Because sometimes there's somebody that needs help, and God sends somebody to help them. But then the person that needs the help is standoffish and don't want the help that God sent. You know, I always think about, and sometimes I get into that, I like scenarios, like here there's a big flood, and you turn around and say, God, I need some help. And you pray for help. So God sends a guy with a rowboat. And you look at the rowboat and say, that isn't what I asked for. So you send them away. Then all of a sudden, God sends them a speedboat. He sends them away. Sends them a helicopter. Sends them away. And then he goes like this and says, God, why did you let me drown? God said, I send you what you need with the person that you needed, but you didn't want to take what I sent you. And that's what we do to God all the time. We do it over and over again. He sends you the help you need, but you push him away because you feel that isn't what you asked for. But God is still a true God. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power to the weak. That's why when you're tired, God never gets tired. God's going to hold you up. He's always going to be there. Yes. But a lot of us don't put our trust in him to be there to hold us up. And when you think about, even youth grow tired and weary. And I look at most youth, they run around like chicken with a head cuff. But as you get older, you start getting a little slower. But it's funny, I think about my oldest son when he was small. He'd run like a ever-ready battery, never stop. All of a sudden, you just watch him do this, he'll run and go, and just keel over. And that's what a lot of us think. We don't die and we don't slow up, especially like a young kid. But a young kid will get tired too. And they fall down. Their batteries burn out like everything else. And even ever-ready batteries will burn out. They could sit there and walk around, boom, 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 boom. But sooner or later, it's going to go, boom. And that's what we do. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like an eagle. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. No matter how tired you are, no matter how much you go through, but as long as you believe in God, He loves you, so He's not going to let you fall. You are convinced that He has the power to control all of life, and your life as well. So if God is controlling your life, he's going to hold you up. He's not going to let you fall down. He's going to sit up there. He'll let you slow down. But then when you think you done fall down, here he's holding you. Just like on the beach. It started out with 2 footprints. Now it's only 1. But that 1 is God carrying you through. But see, a lot of us don't look at God carrying us through. We always look at, we got to do it by ourselves. A lot of things you can't do by yourself. You got to put your trust in God and let him work it out. Because when he works it out, you know he's going to work it out. Because when you believe and trust in him, no matter what it is, he's going to get you through it. Because sometimes you're going through an illness and you say, God, why me? But God said, it's okay. Because I'm right there with you. Sometimes you're saying, oh, I don't have a roof over my head. I don't have a job. But God will say, hold on. There's a knock on your door because he's coming. He got it for you. God always has a plan. His plan will always win, no matter what it is. God's plan will work over all plans. As long as you put him first, he's going to get you through all things. Not some things, all things. Whether you're lost and can't find your way, just put your trust in him and he'll get you through it. But you got to believe in him first. Because he says you have to know me for me to help you. So when you say, I know who he is, you better believe and trust in him. Because you don't want to be one to say, I know who he is. And at the judgment seat, he says, I know you not. And you say, I cast out demons, I did this in your name. But when it came down to it, you didn't accept him for who he was. So how is he going to help you? Because he's the judge and the jury. So when you trust in him, he's going to get you through. And if you don't know who he is, you better get to know who he is.